Welcome to the Intuitive Pool podcast and welcome to season 6. This is a time of harvest. This season is dedicated to bearing the fruits of your labor as we come into alignment with your full joy, your full trust, your full faith, and your fullest expression of your leadership today. I am so excited about sharing this next season with you. Hello, Intuitive Pool community. It is the 23rd of December. We are a week away from the beginning of 2025, and we are about to go into the holiday season. And I want to begin this episode by wishing you a beautiful time with your family, your friends, and especially yourself during this holiday period. I also wanted to remind you of a free masterclass that I will be holding on the last day of this year, on the 31st of December, 2024 at 10 a.m. Sydney time, AEDT. I keep saying that this may indeed be the most important conversation you have with yourself on the last day of this year. Part of what I'm going to be speaking about in that masterclass is what I'm going to be speaking about on this episode. So it is an important conversation that I really feel joyful in holding on the last day of 2024. May it be a very fruitful contemplation with yourself, such that 2025 is indeed a time of harvest. So today's episode is inspired by a note to self that I wrote this morning and that I continue to write throughout the day. I was contemplating the theme of beautiful madness. Now, I have used that expression here lightly on the podcast, maybe in the last 6 weeks. Where it first originated from, because I'd never heard those words before, was I went for a walk with my very close friend and what we call each other our hero partner. My hero partner, Charbel Zeta. I went for a walk with him, I think it must have been about 6 weeks ago in Maroubra. And we were walking and talking, and he was reflecting on me, what he felt about me. And he gave me 2 words that he felt reflected who I am and what I stand for. And he said, beautiful madness. Now, those words have really tickled me, prodded me, provoked me. If you've watched previous or listened to previous episodes, you would have heard that it's been quite an intense time for me inside, as I really have been shaken around to become really clear and to come into alignment with 2025, even before 2025 is here. And so I have been having a love affair with those words, beautiful madness. I have been asking them, what do you want of me? How do you want to play in 2025? How do you want me to be of service to you in 2025? And really, they are a major, major theme of the next year. Yesterday, I had a beautiful afternoon with some friends at Buckety's Brewery here in Brookvale. And afterwards, I went for a long walk. I walked the dog and I was contemplating the words beautiful madness. And I was thinking to myself, when I can imagine when people think of the words beautiful madness, that where they go to is, you have to go and jump out of a plane and skydive. That's what beautiful madness is. But really, beautiful madness is more of a way of thinking, and it's more of a way of being. Yes, there are things that we then go and do from the perspective of living from inside the field of beautiful madness and from the state of being of beautiful madness. For sure, there are things that we go and do. but predominantly it's who we choose to be, and it's the way in which we see life through, the lens in which we see life through. And then, of course, it's the decisions we make from there. It's the intuitive pulls that we receive from there. It's the actions that we then go and take from there. And this morning in my note to self, I had the pull to list out chronologically all my most significant life-changing moments of beautiful madness. And I thought that my first moment of beautiful madness was in 1999, but it wasn't. It was actually about 5 years before that. I got up to number 30, the 30th moment of beautiful madness. And I know that there are more that I have not remembered and that they will come. But when I got to my 30th moment, I asked myself the question, a really, really, really powerful question. What is at the core of all of these moments of beautiful madness? What is the nexus of all of these moments of beautiful madness? And when I received the answer, can I just tell you that I was very emotional. I was literally sitting there taking big breaths out, like literally just breathing out, almost like relief that I had seen this. Not only just relief, but just huge amounts of appreciation. That's the truth. I was in awe. That's what was here. I was in awe of what I had seen. And what I saw at the core of all of my moments of beautiful madness was something. I always say this, that things that are most natural to us, we often don't see because they are so natural to us that they are right under our nose. And if you think about trying to see your lips underneath your nose, you'll actually never be able to see your lips. As much as you can look down, you'll never see the lips that sit underneath your nose. Something as natural as your lips. So this was so natural to me that I didn't see it. And yet it's so bloody profound that I almost feel like crying right now, that I'm so grateful that I saw it today. So what sits at the core of all of my moments of beautiful madness? Well, it's my faith beyond reason and beyond circumstances needing to be in place. Every single moment of beautiful madness lay a sense of faith beyond reason, and it was independent of circumstances needing to be in place. So money didn't need to be in place, relationships didn't need to be in place, certainty didn't need to be in place, a knowing of how things would pan out did not need to be in place. I did not have the need for approval by other people or for agreement by other people, because often if I'm seeking approval or agreement by other people, yet they don't have the level of faith that I do, there's actually no point in trying to share what I'm seeing because they don't have the level of faith. And often it's once the manifestation is here in physical 3D land, that is when I can then go in retrospect about the faith that was there before the manifestation even arrived. And then the people are able to hear me and understand me better. This often happens with my husband and many other people, in fact, who do not live from a paradigm of faith. So faith beyond reason and beyond circumstance was the core of every moment of beautiful madness. What was interesting also, when I go back to a few days after Charbel spoke those words out to me, was I was just randomly washing up in the kitchen, as you do, just going about life. And all of a sudden, I heard my voice in my head. And I heard my voice say a statement. And at the end of that statement, I heard, that was my first moment of beautiful madness. And I was kind of taken aback. And then I realized what this was. This was the prologue to a book that I have had many attempts at writing, but have never completed the book or the books because they weren't exactly vibing. And so now, in my bones, I know that this is the book to write. So that was really, really, really cool. What I want to say to you is this. I've spoken about this on the podcast before. Many times I speak about A Course in Miracles. I speak about Marianne Williamson, who is an amazing student and teacher of A Course in Miracles. And she has a saying that the tree lives inside the acorn. And it's always been a symbol for me that's really resonated and has meant something to me, that's felt profound and like I can really relate to that. That within the acorn is this unseen potential, like you do not know that the tree lives inside the acorn, but it is living there. It's unseen, but it exists. And the other beautiful thing when I'm with that metaphor is that the acorn is kind of unassuming. Like you think of an acorn, it's kind of unassuming, right? It's this small little, what might seem like an insignificant part of nature. And yet within that acorn lies the blueprint of this mighty oak. And this mighty oak is invisible to the human eye. And the acorn does what it does. It responds to cues from the sky, it responds to cues from the ground, and it continues growing the tree regardless of what's happening on the outside. And as I said, it's a metaphor that has always really resonated with me. And when I look at all of my moments of beautiful madness, it's like I've known that there is a tree inside this moment of uncertainty, of this moment of curiosity, and this moment of uncertainty and curiosity, when I think about all the conversations I've led, not only with myself, for myself in my life, but also with clients, I have led conversations around crisis, chaos, death, end of life stage, working with people at their end of life. I have worked with people with trauma, psychosis, sexual abuse, bankruptcy, dissolution of marriages, and also dissolution of work partnerships, financial contraction, addiction, betrayal, grief, crisis of confidence, breakdown. All of these moments have been moments of such great uncertainty. And yet none of these moments, and my heart's responding as I'm saying this out loud to you, none of these moments have felt like a miracle could not exist within them. I won't say that human trepidation or some fear has never arrived, because it has at times. And sometimes I've had conversations of like, wow, am I actually qualified to hold this conversation? And then I hear the answer, well, God would not have given me this person if I did not have the capacity to support them. And now that I think about it, it's because I have this unwavering faith, regardless of the predicament and regardless of any circumstance or even of the circumstance. I have this deep, unwavering faith. And, why is that so? Is it because I experienced purpose born from massive chaos and crisis with the death of my baby and the end of a very physically and emotionally abusive marriage? More than likely, more than likely. Is it because of the freedom and the joy that I've experienced from living that purpose out because of the suffering that I had experienced and all the perspectives that allowed me to be free? Is it because of that? More than likely. And yet I think to myself, how did I even have that perspective in the first place that gave me the faith to see that on one level I was a victim, but on another level, all of that was soul contracted and soul orchestrated, and everybody played their part as they needed to. And how did I even hear Joshua's words tell me you're here to ignite people's spirits and hearts? I mean, it's not like as if somebody told me. Now you're going to connect with the spirit of your deceased baby, and you're going to be guided by the words that he tells you, and you're going to be writing them down. And then what you write down will change the course of your life forever, such that you end up leaving your human resources directorship role, which was, as I've said many times before, it was a very lucrative future that was being built. It's not because I was taught any of that. There was nobody could even have taught me that for me to go to the place within myself and within the greater universe that I went to. It was innate. Where did that come from? I don't know. I don't know. When I'm saying this out loud and I'm saying, where did that come from? I don't know. Like there's a really quite a heart emotional response that's going on within me. Maybe I'll find out even by saying this out on the podcast. Maybe. Or maybe I'll never find out and it's not important. And the main piece that is important is for me to have received that all my moments of beautiful madness, whether I have experienced them myself, as I said, I wrote out 30 times and I know that it's not the end. It was the 30th time that had me see, well, what was the cause of that? Okay, it was faith beyond reason and beyond circumstance. What's important is that. What's important is that. And that is what I am absolutely, without a doubt, compelled to hold a conversation about in 2025. I want to know what else is possible beyond what I know is possible. I want others to know what else is possible beyond what they know is possible. By deciding to surrender, to live and lead from within the field of beautiful madness, and to decide to surrender and live from what sits underneath or at the core of beautiful madness, which is a faith beyond reason, which is a faith beyond circumstances needing to be in place. That is how we find out what else is possible, not by holding on to who we've known ourselves to be, not by holding on to what we know is possible because we've experienced it, not by holding on to what we know is predictable, even though there is nothing wrong with predictability. In fact, through this inquiry, I've even become more appreciative of what is predictable, and with a big and let's play in the field of possibility and potentiality. Every single moment of beautiful madness that was funded in that unconditional faith Every single one of those moments of beautiful madness showed me what else is possible, whether that was through my own life or whether that was through the grand orchestration that I get to live every day with the clients that I work with and all the reflections that I receive from them. You know, I've had moments of such awe in the last, amongst all the intensity that I've been talking about on this podcast, I have had such moments of awe that I get to live in such a creative paradigm. You know, that I get to recreate life moment by moment by moment, that I have the freedom to recreate life moment by moment by moment. And now I see, thanks to my notes to self this morning, that what is at the core of that, which I am so utterly grateful to, and so utterly grateful to be completing 2024 with this knowing, is of this innate faith that I have that sits beyond reason and beyond circumstances needing to be in place before having that level of faith. So may this episode activate your own faith. May this episode activate your own inquiry around, you know, if you've experienced moments of beautiful madness, what have sat at the core, what has sat underneath that has allowed you to experience that beautiful madness. May it have activated an unequivocal intuitive pull that 2025 is not about more of the same, is not about repeating who you've been historically. Yes, there may be places that are predictable that you wish to honor and have more of. And may it also have activated you in the fields of possibility and potentiality. May you be inspired to surrender into the new so that you get to genuinely see what else is possible in life. May you be compelled to see what else is possible in life. If I can support you one-on-one, it would be my great privilege to do that. I'm also changing things up next year. And whilst I don't have all the details right now, I am compelled to collaborate with Charbel Zeta and Penny Patterson around this theme of beautiful madness. And so if you feel pulled to learn what that is, once I have, you know, I'm just waiting for that moment where I know I have enough to move. Please send me an email with your expression of interest so that when I do have that moment of, okay, I have enough and now we can move forward, I can share that with you. And to reiterate, there are times in your life, there's a time in my life right now where I know that one-on-one is what I need. I have been in group scenarios for a year actually, and in three group scenarios in a year. And I know that it's time for one-on-one for me now. And so if you know that that's true for you too, let's explore. Let's explore. May you have beautiful holidays. As I said, may you share the time authentically with your family and friends, and may you have plenty of contemplation time just for yourself. So much love, and thanks for being here. Ciao, ciao.